You are the balm of Gilead. You are the rose of Sharon.
God bless you. This is exceptional miracle. What God has done through his servant, Apostle Walter's Epie, state you.
Viewers all over the world, we bring you special greetings from Christ Dominion Power Ministries International. This is the testimony showroom, and this is a period, this is a time in which we go into the various testimonies which we received in church, to hear it from the testifiers, to know what actually happened, to get an insight of it. We are privileged to be operating under the leadership of our senior pastor in the house, Apostle Walter's Epie, who received the mandate from God to come to Bamenda, to liberate the town of Bamenda, to liberate Cameroon, and to liberate the world. We are very grateful that at this point in time in the history of the world, where the war is in chaos, God has sent somebody, God has sent a vessel to come and speak to us, to come and transform the life of the people in this land. We are grateful that in our midst today we have a pastor, one of the pastors from Christ Dominion Power Ministry, a very close son to the man of God. Pastor, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Pastor, please can you tell our viewers your name?
Okay, I'm Pastor Eno from Christ Dominion Power Ministry International, situated at Brazzaville Junction in the Cameroon. It's a privilege for me to be here to share numerous testimony that we have been experienced, the commission. We have been seeing mind-blowing testimony. I believe many of our viewers will be able to see that which God is doing in this commission and know that the hand of the Lord is upon his servant, Apostle Walter's Epie. So we are here to testify and to celebrate our testifier.
Pastor, we hear, now there are so many conspiracy theories about testimonies and about miracles, and some people say those miracles are manufactured behind and brought. Have you been witnesses to some of these miracles in the church?
Okay, yeah. Concerning the fabrication of miracle, we know we live in a world where people falsified miracle, and few people are able to carry the real power of God. And personally, I have come to know my Father in the Lord, and since from the day I encounter him, I have witnessed miracles by myself. I'm not just that kind of person that believes anything I see. I love to witness with evidence. I just remember the first time I came to the church, when I was just led by the Spirit to visit the church. The first miracle I saw was the eyes of a woman open. Now, when someone tells you something is different from when you witness yourself. So when I saw a lady that came into the church, she was carried and led into the church by a guide, and the man of God prayed for her. Her eyes were open. This woman I'm talking about was a woman that was in good health, but she was attacked by witchcraft, and she became blind. And when we came to church that day, the man of God discovered her case, and he prayed and made a statement that touched me so much. He said, nobody will leave this church until this woman's eyes open. And I was moved by that statement. Many people use big grammar and they don't perform. So I wanted to see if he was just a talker or he was a man that backed his word with action and evidence. But to my greatest surprise, when he prayed, the woman's eyes were open and everybody was excited. That was my first experience. I was so moved. I was ready to call others so that we could lock the door as the man of God. I said nobody will leave, to ensure that the eyes of the woman be open. But I discovered that the man of God is a man of the word, a man of the spirit. Since from the day of that woman's blind eyes, I made up my mind to follow this man of God. And since from the time I was following the man of God up to date, there have been numerous testimonies that have been taking place. And many viewers that are watching and are connected to this ministry can also testify the testimony of this blind woman.
That was the pastor, one of the pastors from Dominion Christ, Dominion Power Ministry, giving to us a detailed account of how he met the man of God and the testimonies that he had seen on ground. Here in the testimony showroom, we evaluate some of those testimonies. We call the people who testify to talk to you so that you could hear from them. Today we are privileged to have one of the testifiers in the house. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you very much.
And what's your name?
I'm called Miriam Ibude.
Miriam, you're welcome.
Thank you
I
very
like your
much.
outfit.
Thank you.
So when did you meet this man of God?
I met the man of God sometime in 2017. He had a crusade, so a friend of his invited me to come and minister at the program. So when I went there, I ministered at the program and people were blessed, and he urged me to come and help train the choir there. So I thought within me, there is no way I can train the choir if I'm not part of the ministry. So that was how I decided to join the ministry, and since that day, my life has never been the same again.
Amen. And you've been experiencing the grace of God upon your life.
So many experiences, lots of testimonies, tangible testimonies that was witnessed that God has done through him. So the testimonies are mind-blowing, and I'm privileged to be the first person to start this maiden edition to show my experience on the testimony that I gave.
Okay. The testimony which you want to share now, is it about you or about somebody else?
It's about my husband.
Okay, your husband. Where's your husband?
He's in Dubai.
I would have loved to have him here. We are sure he's connected and he's watching us in Dubai. I want to say your wife is a wonderful woman, and may God continue to bless you. So what actually happened? What actually happened to your husband?
On the 20th, he called me and he told me he wasn't feeling fine. He was having cold, catarrh, and he was coughing. So we knew it was just normal influenza and stuff like that. But he persisted on the 21st. So it's a normal routine in their job site to do a COVID test every after 2 weeks. So that 21st was one of those 2 weeks that he had to do the COVID test. So he went to the hospital and did the test, and it was positive. That was on the 21st. So he called me and he was already crying before even telling me he was positive. And I was asking what's the problem. He said he was tested positive to COVID-19. At that moment, so many things came rushing to me, but one thing that pulled me back, it was God. And I have witnessed testimonies in the house, and I knew our man of God in the house, this is going to be possible. COVID-19 is a small issue. So I had to encourage him. When he called me and all those emotions came rushing, what first of all came to my mind was, oh my God, am I going to be a widow? Because from all what we have heard outside, COVID-19 is a killer disease, especially out of the country. Not us here in Africa and Cameroon, specifically, we know we have our normal herbs that we take. But that thought, I was devastated. But I thank God. The tests are there, we're going to see the positive result. But I still want to thank God. It's Him all along.
Okay, when you discovered that your husband was coronavirus positive, what actions did you take? What steps did you take?
When he told me like that, the first thing that came to my mind, I told him, call our Father in the Lord. Call him and tell him, show him the result. Explain it to him. So that was what he did, and he told me that he has spoken to him, and the man of God has prayed for him and told him that in 72 hours, everything is going to be alright.
So what happened after the 72 hours?
After the 72 hours, before the 72 hours, he did another test, and he was still positive. That was on the 23rd. He did another test. He was still positive. meaning the 72 hours had not yet elapsed, so he still had time. So the next, he did another test on the 24th, if I'm not mistaken, and it was negative.
Wow. So your husband contacted COVID-19 and the results were positive on the first day. I'm sure viewers, you can see the results. That's the date on the 21st. He conducted the results and it was positive. And I'm sure that was the same day you contacted Papa for prayers. How was the prayers done?
When I told him to contact Papa, he did, and he called me back and told me that Papa prayed on him on phone, and Papa told him to get a bottle of water. He took the water, Papa prayed on the water, and he drank. That was on phone, and he drank the water. Papa told him in 72 hours, everything is going to be all right.
And after the 72 hours, what was the outcome of the result? I'm sure he did another test again.
He did several of them.
Okay.
Then on the 22nd, because in Dubai you cannot have COVID-19 and you're still where you're living, so the COVID-19 team came to his apartment and all their quarantine things and carried him to the isolation center. That's where all positive COVID-19 patients are staying. They take care of you, they give you drugs and whatsoever. So they came and collected him that day and went to that isolation center. So on the 23rd, on arriving on that isolation center, he did another test and was still positive. So he told me, I still directed him to Papa, and Papa still prayed on phone, still assured him that he has given him 72 hours, and in 72 hours, everything is going to be all right.
Wow. And in exactly 72 hours, everything was okay.
Very okay. So he did another test again on the 24th, and that test was negative.
Hallelujah. I'm sure viewers, you can see that's the result. Look at the date on the 21st. He did the first test, that is it, positive. You look again, you see it on the 23rd. Second test, still positive. And that's the third test, which was done on the 24th, showing negative. This can only be the handwork of God. Through phone, he did not meet the man of God one-on-one. He prayed to him through the phone. There is no limitation when it comes to the power of God. God is using this man of God beyond bounds. We want to thank God very much. Pastor, I want to find out from you, because now the viewers might think it was just a mere coincidence that the results changed after 2 days. Do you think this was actually the handwork of God?
Yeah, thank you so much. This is indeed the hand of God. And I was not that too surprised, because I've seen what God has been using a man of God to be doing. And when the call came, when Papa was praying for the husband, was in church where the sons of the prophet were praying, and Papa took the phone and he called him and he prayed over the phone and declared, said in 72 hours everything will be done. So I was there when they prayed, and when the result came back, we could see the evidence. It was clear, because just before that there was another testimony we just received in church of another brother in America that was quarantined and knew that everything was gone. Who wrote the will, called the family that I'm already gone. But the sister said, you can't die when I have a pastor. And so in the subsequent show, we are going to bring the testimony of the man that was healed in America still from COVID-19. So we believe God has anointed his servant to handle the case of many, and it's a live testimony. I witnessed it, and so just want to give God the glory. So it's not fake, the testimony is real.
Thank you very much. We are heading straight from one of the pastors who is very close to the man of God. If you're just watching us, if you're tuning in for the very first time, this is Testimony Showroom on Christ Dominion Power Ministry International TV. I want to thank you very much for watching. We'll come back to our testifier. How is your husband now, and where is he presently? Is he still in the quarantine center?
No, as per Dubai law, when you have one positive, you must have, when you have one negative, you must have another negative before you're discharged, and you must be in the quarantine center for at least 10 days. So when he got the first negative, he told me he's remaining one more. I told him if God can do it the first time, he will perfect it. So after, I think 2 days, he did the next 2 or 3 days, he did the next test on the 29th, on the 28th. And on the 29th, the test came out and it was negative. So at that time, he had made 7 days in the quarantine center. So I asked him, when are you going to be discharged? He told me, he has asked the nurse, and the nurse says, you must be at least 10 days. But to our greatest dismay, that same 29, they came and told him that he's being discharged. So he was discharged on the 30th. He left.
The husband was discharged, and he is healed and he is fine. And I want to invite you, wherever you're watching us from, just connect to this grace, because the power of God is working mightily through our prophet, through our Father in the Lord, the Apostle Walter Epie. May God bless you, and keep following us. If you want to follow us, you can go to Facebook and follow our Facebook page. Just type, we love Apostle Walters Epie, you'll find it there. You go to YouTube, you just type Apostle Walters Epie, you'll see it and you join us. And God will bless you, and God will continue to keep you. Till next time, bye-bye.
Hi everybody, this is a testimony, my testimony actually. On the 20th of December, I tested positive for the COVID-19, and I was so worried. So I spoke to my wife, and she told me it's okay, everything is going to be fine. And she asked me to call Apostle Walter Epie of Christ Dominion Power Ministry International, Bamenda. So I called him, and he told me I shouldn't bother, that everything is going to be fine. He prayed with me, and I was asked to go and do another test as per the UAE law, which I did. It still came out positive. That was on the 21st. So on the 22nd, I was asked to go to quarantine myself where others are. So when I spoke to the man of God, he told me I shouldn't bother, that as I'm going there, within 72 hours, my result is going to come out negative. So when I went there at the hospital, they did another test. That was on the 22nd. On the 23rd, it came out positive. So he prayed with me, and he told me the same thing he did before, that within 72 hours, I shouldn't bother myself. So 2 days later, they did another test, and it came out negative. I was so happy, and I thank God I got in contact with the man of God, Apostle Walter Epie. As per the UA law, I need to have 2 negative before I'm discharged. So I had another test 2 days later again. It still came out negative. And instead of making the normal 10 days that everyone makes in the quarantine camp, I made 7 days. So I want to thank God for my life. I want to thank God for the life of Apostle Walters Epie, the servant of God of Christ Dominion Power Ministry International. I wish I was in Cameroon so that I could give this testimony in church, but I'm doing this video because I'm not in Cameroon. So thank you so much, Papa. May God continue to bless you, bless your family, and bless Christ Dominion Power Ministry International.
You are the balm of Gilead. You are the rose of Sharon. You are my peace in the midst of the storm. You are the air I